There's a growing problem in the housing market right now, and most people don't fully understand how it's actually playing out. You're probably hearing that the inventory is up, but at the same time, prices really aren't dropping in the way that people expected. So what's actually happening, and more importantly, is Birmingham following the same trend, or is our market doing something completely different? Because what I'm seeing locally might surprise you. Hey, I'm Zach, your friend in real estate right here in the Birmingham Metro. I help buyers, sellers, and people relocating into the state every single day, so I've got boots on the ground. I know what's going on right now, and I want to dive a little deeper into these statistics. So I was reading a recent Housing Wire article talking about this growing gap between inventory and pricing across the country. And here's the simple version of it. More homes are hitting the market, but prices are holding higher than expected. That creates this disconnect because buyers feel like homes are overpriced, sellers feel like they should still get top dollar, and the market kind of gets stuck in the middle. Now, on paper, that sounds like things should slow down, but that's not always what actually happens in real life. So let's break it down real quick. Nationally, what we're seeing is inventory is rising in a lot of markets, homes are sitting a lot longer than most people expect, and buyers are becoming more selective. But here's the part that's confusing for most people. Prices haven't dropped dramatically, and the reason's pretty simple. Most sellers aren't forced to sell right now. By and large, a lot of sellers have low interest rates, and they've got a lot of equity built up. So instead of dropping their price, they just wait it out. So now you've got buyers waiting for prices to come down, and sellers are waiting for buyers to meet them where they are. And that's where this gap comes from. So let me ask those of you who are actually looking for houses right now, do you feel like homes are a little overpriced, or there's just not enough good options out there for the right price? Just let me know in the comments below. Now here's where it gets interesting because what's happening nationally doesn't always match what's happening locally. So let's zoom in on Birmingham for a minute and look at what the numbers are actually saying here. All right, so starting with Jefferson County. So we're sitting right around 2.7 months of inventory, and what that means is this. If no new homes hit the market, everything that's currently listed would sell in about 2.7 months. So that's still a relatively tight market. Now compare that to what's considered a balanced market, which is closer to 5 to 6 months of inventory. So by no means are we there. We're not even close. Now, here's where it gets even more interesting. Homes are selling for about 99.8% of the list price. So sellers are still getting very close to what they're asking for, and homes that are actually selling, they're averaging about 60 days on market. But here's the part that most people miss. The homes that are still sitting, those are averaging closer to 90, maybe even more days on market. So there's a big difference between what's actually selling and what's just sitting on the market right now. Now let's talk about price points because this is where the story really changes. That mid-range, roughly $250,000 to $400,000, that's still moving pretty efficiently. So you've got low inventory in that range, strong demand, and homes are still selling close to the list price. But when we start looking at those different price ranges, that's where things are starting to shift. And here's the part that surprises people. Even some higher end homes in Jefferson County, especially from that $800,000 to $1 million range, are actually still very tight. We've got low inventory, some even selling at or above list price. So it's not as simple as saying higher end is slow. It really just depends on the segment that we're talking about. So let me ask you, if you're a buyer right now, does it feel competitive when you're looking, or does it feel like things have slowed down? And home sellers, let me ask you, depending on which range you're in, is your house either sitting on the market? Have you had to go through multiple price reductions? Or did you sell it quickly, maybe even above the list price? All right, let's shift gears over to Shelby County. So we've got Hoover, Alabaster, Helena, Pelham, other cities in there as well. There's a lot of people that are still moving here. And overall, it's a very similar story. We're sitting right around 2.5 months of inventory. So again, not oversupplied, and it's not really a true buyer's market. And homes here are selling at 98.5% of list price. So there's a little more room for negotiation here compared to Jefferson County, but it's still a strong market overall. And again, homes that are selling are averaging around 62 days on market. Now let's talk about segmentation again, because this is where Shelby County actually looks a little different. That mid-range, roughly $225,000 to $400,000, that's a very strong range right now, and in some cases even tighter than Jefferson County. But when we move into that higher price point, that's where things start to slow down more noticeably, and especially in that $1 million plus range. You're looking at more inventory, longer days on market, and more room to negotiate. So even within the Birmingham area, this is not one market. It's actually multiple markets happening at the same exact time. So let me ask you another question. Have you noticed that houses maybe in the neighboring city are selling a lot faster than ones that are in your current city? Or maybe it's the other way around, because that's exactly what the data is showing here. So let's talk about what this actually means for you, because this is the part that matters the most. So for buyers specifically, if you're actually looking to purchase right now, you're not crazy. Some homes are still competitive, but it's not all of them. and if you're in that mid price point range, you still need to move quickly on the right homes. But you may be shopping in that higher end price point, so you may have more leverage than you think. So my question to you is, are you waiting for prices to drop, or are you looking for the right opportunity within the market that already exists? All right, for homeowners, if you're thinking about selling, this is not the same market we had a few years ago. You can't just throw a sign out in the yard, slap a price tag on it, and just expect it to sell overnight. Pricing matters more now, and condition matters more now as well. Also, presentation matters more because your buyers have options again. So ask yourself, if you listed your home today, would it stand out, or would it just blend in with the other homes in the neighborhood, or maybe the other homes on the market? Because that's what determines whether your house sells or it sits on the market. And for people who are thinking about wealth building, or maybe they already are, if you're investing, this is the opportunity that shows up for you. Because when the market isn't moving evenly, that's when you can find deals. You got to key in on those slower segments, the longer days on market, and that's going to give you more negotiation power, and that's exactly what you want to be looking for if you're investing. So let's tie all this together, because that gap we talked about at the beginning, it's real, but what most people are missing is exactly what I said earlier. This isn't just one market, it's multiple markets happening at the exact same time. So depending on the price point and location, national headlines tell one story, but locally, Birmingham is still relatively tight overall. It's just more segmented in different price ranges, and if you're making a decision based only on national news, there's a good chance you're missing what's actually happening here. So here's what I would do next. If you're thinking about buying, selling, or moving in the next 3 to 6 months, you need a strategy based on this local market, not the national one. And if you want help breaking that down, maybe you're trying to figure out where you should be buying, or what your home could sell for, or maybe even what your next move should be, you can reach out using that number that's on the screen there. You can also click the link in the description to set up a free discovery call. I help people move to and around Birmingham every single week, and we can help you build a plan that's actually going to work for you in today's market. I've also got some other resources in the description below, so maybe you're interested in what your home could sell for, just trying to figure out what your value is. There's a link for that down there as well. And just remember, that problem in the housing market, if you understand it, it can actually work in your favor. If you found this video helpful and maybe you want to stay up to date with other things that are happening in the local real estate market right here in Birmingham, or maybe you're just interested in seeing what's available on the market, we cover all that in my channel here. So make sure you like this video and subscribe below, and I will see you in the next video.